Welcome everyone. This is a continuation of last week's video. So let me get right into it. So after my concert at my church, I saw that there was auditions for Black Nativity at Anacostia Playhouse, which I knew they were coming up because Stefan, the director of Do Drop In, told the cast that Anacostia Playhouse was going to do Black Nativity during the Christmas season. So I knew it was coming, and I was kind of debating if I was going to audition or not because it's gospel. It's gospel. And I can sing gospel, but I'm more so, I sing old gospel. Like my best friend Shantae tells me all the time. She says, Marcel, you sing gospel like an old Baptist deacon. Yes, I do. I do. So anyway, I auditioned for the show. I got a spot to audition, have a live audition. The same people was in the room as for Do Drop In. I sang We Come This Far by Faith. I sang that, and that was the audition. I got a call back. This time the callback was more tedious than Do Drop In because there was choreography and it was African dance. I haven't danced like that since I was in high school and I was 17 years old. And this is not a 17-year-old body anymore. When I tell you, I looked at Rodney when he was saying, "You want us to do what?" And okay. But I was surprised that I did pick up the choreography fairly quickly because I usually don't pick up choreography that fast, and I did. And I was a little worried too because I wasn't feeling that well that day, so I had to soldier up and fake it till you make it. And I got through it, and then I passed out at home. Like I went to sleep because I was exhausted. And I got the job. And so with that show, because it's ensemble heavy and it's a lot of singing, it's a lot of choreography because they're dancers in the show. That show, the rehearsal process was 6 weeks out, 6 weeks before opening, and we rehearsed 5 days a week, like Do Drop In. But this time we had a Saturday rehearsal that was 7 hours from 12 to 7. I know you're looking at me like, really, Marcel? Yes, we had a long rehearsal on Saturday, but we had breaks as if we were part of the union, as if we were equity actors. We had breaks throughout the day, and then we had a lunch break, so it was fine. And the same thing during the 4-hour rehearsals during the week. So that show, when it opened, we ran for 3 weeks, I think, almost four maybe, and it was about 6 shows, 7 shows a week, something like that. Do Drop In, it was about 6, 7 shows a week as well. And it was a lot. It was a lot. I remember we did a run through in the theater, and it was a lot of steps. Walking up and down those steps. Woo! Well, I'm telling you, after I finished that show, I had thighs of steel. Thighs of steel. And yes, I did almost fall down the steps or up the steps one time. Thank God my castmates were standing on the steps and I just grabbed on somebody and kept on moving. Y'all know how I do. But it was a good show. It really was a good show. And I learned a lot about myself during that show. I learned how to pace myself. I learned how to listen because it was very ensemble heavy. And there was an equal amount of men as there were women, but the women were split between soprano and alto, and all the men were singing tenor. So I really had to listen to make sure when to give a little more, when to back away, so the men won't overpower the women. I learned that. I learned that I can sing gospel. The whinings, I am able to sing that type of gospel music. That style of gospel music fits my voice very well. When the show ended, I went back to my regular life of teaching, my regular schedule, sending my materials out like I did before and looking up auditions. And I sent my resume, headshot, and cover letter to the Shakespeare Theater Company in DC for this season, for 2020-2021. And they emailed me back because they wanted me to email it to them. That was their preference. And the email act said that they're looking for an understudy for the Amen Corner, which they were looking for an understudy for Marty Lamar's part. And he plays for the whole show. He actually plays on the piano live for the show. He's Brother Davis was his character name, and he was the choir director. And they asked me could I play the piano. I said, no, I can play the piano, but not on that level. I play enough to learn my part and play the chords and things underneath the melody so I know what's going on, but I don't play on that level. They said, okay, that's fine. We'll keep your resume and headshot on file, and if we think that you are fit for another show, we'll contact you. I said, okay. So a week later, or maybe 2 weeks later, they contacted me back, and they said, are you still interested in being an understudy? I said, yeah, sure. So the person that I was talking to, I can't think of her name right now, she was a casting director, and she was the middle person. I was emailing her, and she was then emailing the music director, Victor Simmons. She was emailing him. And so this was like a Thursday, and we were going back and forth all weekend. I was sending her videos of me singing, and she was sending it to Victor. And Victor said, do you have any gospel in him? But then he asked me to send him Amazing Grace in a certain key. So I did that, and I sent it to him. And then on Saturday, I believe, we were supposed to Skype together. And I set everything up, because I haven't used Skype in so long. I didn't even know if it even worked on my phone or computer. I missed the call because my devices didn't ring. So I started to panic, and I called the lady that I was talking to through email. And she said, well, he's in a rehearsal right now, so he'll get back with you. And he did. And I'm not sure if we spoke or not, but the video that I sent him was enough for him to see if I could sing in the style that he needed me to sing in. And so then Sunday evening, I was offered the job. And I was so excited, you all, because I've been trying to get in regional theater for years. Years. Even in Chicago, I was trying to get in regional theater. And I finally got into regional theater. And I have to thank everyone from Anacostia Playhouse, Stefan, Rodney. I don't know if he contacted Rodney. I don't know if he contacted William, the music director from the shows. I don't even know if Victor contacted Mr. Bonds. I don't know who he contacted to reference to see, if I was easy to work with and how fast I learned music and all of that and my personality. I don't know who he contacted, but thank all of you all, and thank you, Victor, for believing in me. Now, I got in the game real late, you all. And when I was offered the contract, it was Sunday night evening. I ran downtown to the theater. I had 2 hours from when I was offered the job to get to the theater to see their open dress rehearsal. Their final open dress rehearsal. Let me say it again. Final open dress rehearsal. And I went in there, and I was sitting next to the artistic director and the director of the show. Did I introduce myself? Not at the beginning. I think I introduced myself during intermission. And The artistic director is Simon Godwin. I think I'm saying his last name right. And the director of the show was Whitney White. And so when I got there and sat down, I couldn't remember who I was going to be understudying. I just knew his name started with a D. And I thought I was understudying the son in the show. So I was sitting there the whole time like, Jesus, this is a lot of lines. Lord, this is a lot of lines. My God, what is he saying? Jesus, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I got it together and I figured out I wasn't playing him. And so then I calmed down. But then I couldn't remember what Marty sang at the beginning of the show. Because I wasn't paying him attention because I didn't know I was playing him. I was his understudy. Anyway, yes, I told the artistic director that I was playing, I think his name is David. And he looked at me like, I don't think that's right. So yes, I made a fool of myself, but I recovered and moved on with my life. So this show, when I tell you, I didn't know if I was coming or going up, down, left, right, because things were moving so fast. When I signed the contract, it was the first day of previews. The first day of the week of previews. Still working my day job, so I worked from 8 in the morning to 11 o'clock. And luckily, I could walk to the theater. And I got to the theater the first day, had all this paperwork to sign, all these things, had the script handed to me. Then I had to sit in for the rehearsal from 12 to 5. Then I had to stay, and I had to come back and see all the preview shows. So I was a tired somebody. When I tell you I was tired, I was tired. But I got through it. I really, Jesus, I don't even know how I did. And I really didn't sleep that much because by the time I got home, I had to get ready for the next day and to get up and do it all over again and be at work by 8 o'clock. And so during their rehearsal, I'm not on stage. All the understudies, we're sitting, the two of us, we're sitting in the audience observing. So that's what we do for a week. And so after that, when you're an understudy, sorry, I'm rambling. When you're an understudy, you are on call. Soon as you sign that contract, you could go on that night. So when I signed that contract Tuesday, and they had the previews week, when I signed the contract that day, and Marty, if he would have got sick or couldn't make it or something would have happened, I would have to go on that day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When I tell you it was a lot of stress, it was stressful, but it was a good experience. I learned a lot. And when you're an understudy, you have to call in 30 minutes before curtain. And you have to be 30 minutes away. So if they say so-and-so hasn't showed up, you have to be 30 minutes away. And this is 8 shows a week. So it was stressful. It was stressful. I was constantly looking at the music. I was constantly learning. And when I heard Marty's solo on the first preview show, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to sing this. Marty is 6'5" and gospel. Chest gospel. I am 5 something and I have a high, light, bright voice. But I have to thank Victor because when we had our rehearsals together, he started off saying, I don't want you to sing this like Marty because you're not Marty. You both have 2 different voices. And we're going to tailor the music to your voice. And that's what we did. That's what he did. And I have to thank him for that. And he arranged all the music in the show. He arranged all the music. And it was all the music from it was spirituals, hymns, and gospel hymns. So it wasn't modern day gospel as we know it today. It was gospel from, I think the show took place in the 50s, don't quote me, the early 50s, late 40s, somewhere in there. So it was that style of gospel music. So it wasn't all like, hello, and all them runs, and they were simple runs if I did run. So with that show, I learned so much. I learned so much. I learned that I can go with the flow at the drop of a dime. I learned that I am worthy of being in the room, that we all are in the same boat as actors and as singers. We're all trying to get the next job. And from my journey from Anacostia Playhouse to the Shakespeare Theater, I met so many new people in the industry. And I just have to say thank you once again for Victor for letting me be Marty's understudy. And I have to thank everybody else that you called, emailed to ask about me and how I work. I have to thank you. Now, the show never closed. The show didn't have a chance to close. The show closed because of the virus. So I think we had 3 shows left. And the man shut it all down. So I never was able to go on stage and perform. And that's okay, because Marty was there every night. So when everything shut down and I got furloughed from my job, this is after the Amen Corner, I took a week to rest because I was tired. I was exhausted. I didn't even know I was that exhausted. And I rested, and I have a subscription, a membership at Backstage.com, and I started going on and seeing what auditions were going on and seeing how the business had to kind of change itself and reinvent itself. And so I started looking at different videos of casting directors that Backstage was doing, hour-long videos, and voiceover people and marketing people and all of that. After a couple of weeks or 2 months, I got tired of that. And so I decided to start practicing again. I started practicing, started putting videos online of my concert at my church. I have a YouTube channel, and I haven't really used it. I created it in 2013 to comment on videos and to like things. Then I started using it as a place to house my audition videos. And so I decided to start making my own YouTube videos to get myself out there and to motivate myself and to keep the craft going and to try to create my own community. So that's how I got to this point today. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think I did get a little depressed. I think I did have a little anxiety because I worked so hard to finally get into the theater scene in DC. And I was working hard in Chicago. And I never really got into the theater scene. And I was like, I finally got in. I finally got to regional theater. And then the pandemic happened. Like, really? And I didn't know where to go from there. And I had to slowly get myself together and tell myself, you know what, Marcel, it will come back. Everything is going to come back. Theater is going to come back. Everything is going to come back. You just have to be patient. But while you're being patient, create a tribe for yourself. Get into the community. Find your community as an artist. And just create. Create and have fun. So that's how I got to the place I'm in right now. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.